Alrighty. I am Michael Hernandez with MLH Media and now with Valley Fight News. And I am here with Michael Ramirez, Michael R1 Ramirez, who is now going to be fighting for the welterweight championship at the 559 Fights 95 on March 10th. So, Michael, how are you doing today? I mean, it is a great day it's a great day to be a Michael. I mean, I had my news with the Valley Fight News, and then you're having your championship bout and only your third amateur matchup. So did you kind of want to touch up on that? Because I mean, you've had some pretty you had some pretty fun matchups in your fight so far.
Yeah, yeah, I know. These three fights that I've gotten so far, I've really learned a lot by myself, So this title fight getting on my fourth bout I'm really grateful, for the opportunity. It really threw me off. I was really surprised, but I mean, everything has for a reason, And I'm on God's time, so whenever opportunities come, I'm gonna just seize them, I'm gonna just step forward and up to the task and just do what I got to do.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, anybody that follows you on Instagram kind of knows that you've been really at work. You've been talking to a lot of sponsors. You've been going door to door. You've been really working for this MMA career. So that's something I just want to give you your kudos to, because that's something that a lot of this amateur fighters, you have to market yourself. You know what I'm saying? And you're doing a really good job right now of marketing yourself and trying to make your name known. And with that, your R1, you've had these series of t-shirts with the anime kind of looking thing. And I'm gonna also drop a picture just in case anybody wanted to pick any of those up if you did have any left. But kind of go into that nickname, because I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting. It reminded me of like a race car, like R1, you know what I'm saying? So what was
Yeah,
your dissertation of it?
it kind of just came from me, like never really like sugarcoated anything. I always kept it real, even if it wasn't like need to be heard, I would just kept it. I was always honest, I always just I never like I'm not a good bullshitter, I'm not a good liar, so might as well just tell the truth, and then even if it hurts, or like just like any situations back then, like if I was in a reverse situation, I wouldn't ever back down from anything, So that's kind of where it comes from. And with the shirts and stuff, with the style that I made, I feel like that it represents. Cause I like anime, I'm a big fan of anime, so I really fuck with anime tough. So so I thought, I found a dope logo designer. He killed it with it. Like he made it perfect. Like the design, just everything. Like I just really fuck with it. So the shirts came out pretty good. I'm really grateful for that. A lot of people had a lot of pre-orders. I do have shirts left over. I think maybe like possibly 8 or 10 left that are just in the air. If anybody wants to grab one.
For sure. Well, I will most definitely be marketing those. And, hey, I'm hoping that if you by chance do come out with a reprint of those shirts, I'm for sure going to be getting one of those, my man, because they are pretty cool. But I know they've been flying fast, so I haven't not been trying to bother you for them, and I've been a busy man myself. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely been a time for March. And I know you're pretty excited about this title fight, and you've only been training since July, which is the craziest thing. Like if like you take this timetable, you've been training since July of last year, I believe, correct? And then your first fight was in November, and then you have three fights
Yes,
back to
sir.
back to back. And the schedule just kind of speaks to your work ethic. Because I mean, November, December, January, like you said, you would have fought in February had there been fights in February. So you're just stacking these fights on your resume. What is something that like how does something like that go into your account when you're going into that ring? Because obviously that means like, hey, I got to go into this, I got to take as less damage as possible, because I have this fight coming up in January. I've always thought that's an interesting concept for you amateur fighters.
Yeah, when you put it like that, that is pretty crazy. But no, I don't even think about taking no damage. It just happens to come out that way. Like, um, I go in there and if I come out with no damage, I'm really like I said, everything's for a reason, So when that stuff happens, I know that 'cause I pray for this stuff. I pray that my goal, and I believe a lot of people's goals is to make it to the UFC, and that's something I'm gonna do regardless. So me accepting these fights, I take them. Even the last fight was short notice. I said yes right away. Not I don't think about it because I train every day. So nothing's ever short notice for me. You know, like I'm ready regardless. Like they got something for me, I'm there. Like, and I'm not saying this as like every fight I have. Oh, I'm fucking. I'm not nervous because every single one I've had from my first one to second one to my third one, there's always the nerves. You know, I'm always nervous. I'm always nervous, but I have a good team behind me that talk to me. They remind me who I am and the work I put in and to like just be confident, you know, because I've had trouble with confidence because I'm not a cocky person, you know, so I had the two mixed up, you know. So now that I learned confidence, it's something that I'm mastering right now, you know. So I feel pretty good because yeah, I, from what I know, I'm one of the first ones to take back fights in a 5 for 9. So I'm really grateful that they gave me the opportunity to do that, you know.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And it was I was so awesome watching back all of those fights because I mean your first one was that TKO, that second one was that it was a split decision, I believe, or it was a UD, but either way, that was probably fight of the night. Like I remember that was a really good fight versus Spinelli. And then you have your fight against I probably am going to be butchering his last name, Konkura. And you had that third round submission, and I could tell right off that submission that you were built for something different because just the way you built up and the way you came out and the way that the crowd roared, there was something about it that I was like, this guy's going to be in line for something and it's going to be something big. So I just wanted to give you your kudos on that, man, because that it took a lot of heart to get that submission in that third round, which is not something you always see in the amateur scene. And I always love seeing when guys can dig deep and find ways to finish that fight in that third round or in the last seconds, because that takes a lot more than just, okay, going in there, let me just knock this guy. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty impressive. It really showed the type of fighter you were, in my opinion. But speaking to you more as a person and your personal life, you train at Dethrone in Clovis, and you train with obviously a ton of MMA dudes, Isaac Johnson Jr., Josh Simpson, Mike Moreno. Is there anybody that's in there that's challenging you on the daily and that's in your kind of weight division? Because I mean, there's so many people in that Dethrone gym that you almost have a plethora of training partners that you can kind of pick from compared to a lot of other gyms where it's maybe like, hey, you got to train with this 205er. And that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Because so what would you say is somebody that trains with you each and every day and just challenges you to be the best Michael Ramirez you can be?
Honestly, there is a lot of great talent in there, you know, a lot of good fighters, but one person that I always go with a lot that always challenges me is Christian Avalos, Land Shark. Yeah, he's one of my favorite guys to go with. He always puts me to work, and it's always a challenge no matter what. And he takes the time to he trains with me, spars with me, like gives me like a little sneak peek of how it feels to go against someone that's really talented and professional because he's a professional fighter, you know. So he's one of the people I like going with. Josh Simpson's really good. I like going with him because he has some really good wrestling. So I like going rolling with him. Uh, the former champ Martin, I like going with him. He always puts me on game. You know, tries to sharpen up my IQ and tells me advice and stuff like that. And obviously my coach Mike Moreno, you know, one of the best out there. Really grateful to have him on my team and in my corner and just in life. You know, he's always giving me solid advice, and he has his heart in the right place when he talks to me, when he trains me and coaches me, and like he really has a passion for that thing. Like he puts everything into our training, not just for me but for my teammates. You know, like he just he wants to make sure you're getting it down right. He just doesn't like tell you something and then, you know, all right, do it. He'll sit there and make sure you're doing that shit right. Uh, another person I like going with is he's fighting on this card too. His name's Gable Rocha. He's making his debut. I knew him for a while, so training with him, he's my like same height, low key, and he's really fun to go with because we both give each other that respect of going hard with each other, so we could learn and stuff, you know, and give each other advice. So there's plenty of other names. I'm probably missing a few, but a lot of my teammates, they all help me out a lot. even during spar days, we have people come through, and I'll spar with like a 220 pounder, 230. So I don't mind going heavyweights, you know, like I feel like it picks your survival instincts up because you don't want to get hit with by a damn heavyweight, you know. So it sharpens up your survival skills. For me at least, like I love challenging myself, you know. So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, most definitely. And I almost forgot about those Avalos brothers because of they're so prominent in the professional scene. I almost like separate the amateurs from the professionals at Dethrone, but that just goes to show how much talent there is over there. Because I mean, those Avalos brothers are two of those guys that have really helped found that gym. You know, I mean, they're huge in the jiu-jitsu and the ground game over there. And then obviously they're going to be on that Tachi card coming up here in April, I believe. So it's going to be a fun time watching them get to perform. And I'm pretty sure you're going to be over there supporting your Avalos
Yes,
brothers.
sir.
But I just also wanted to touch up on a little bit of you yourself and how you go into a match and what you do to prepare, because I mean every fighter goes into things a little bit differently. John Jones is super calculated when he's looking at his opponents and he watches every single piece of film. Or there's some guys that are just like, hey, I go in there, I stand and bang, and I do what I got to do. Is there something that you feel separates you from the competition in the sense of your preparation and the way that you go into fights compared to other amateur fighters or other fighters at your level?
Um, honestly, I try to keep my mind off of it leading up to, like, I study film, of course, you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of people do. But leading up to the fight, I try to keep my mind off it just so I don't stress myself out or do anything necessary. Until the moment I'm getting ready and stepping, walking to that cage, I'll start mentally preparing myself. But when I'm in the back or warming up or just waiting till I'm up next, I'm just usually I'll pray or I'll try to listen to music or just distract myself, you know, and not think about it too much. And when I'm walking to the cage or before I fight, I always give my opponent nothing but respect because I'm gonna assume no matter who I'm going against that they train their ass off. You know, that they train as much as I did and even more because I'm assuming everybody's trained longer than I have. Like as in like when they started training, not necessarily in like on a daily basis. 'Cause I train every day, you know, but someone could have trained before July, you know, before that year that I started training. Like I assume everyone's been doing it for a while. So when I go in there, I'm always ready for a challenge. You know, I always give my opponent respect, and because it takes two to tango. You know, so there's nothing but respect for whoever else steps in there with me.
Yeah, most definitely. And I love that attitude that it's a lot of you fighters have. And I think that's something that Mike just instills in you guys, that you guys got to go in there with knowing that this guy's probably put in, if not as much work than you, more. And, that's something that I feel that really resonates with you guys. And you guys definitely show that in the ring because you guys put your all in there in every single fight. And just to touch on some music and maybe some videos that you watch pre-game, I know that's a little bit of a rinky-dink question, but I just kind of thought that's interesting because every fighter's got a little bit of something they listen to that's different. So what's something that you're bumping in your beats before you're walking out to the floor?
Honestly, a little bit of everything. You know, I'm one of those people that I listen to country, then I'll never turn to rap or R&B or anything like that, like rock. Like I'm a fan of everything, honestly. Like in the back, Coach Mike's on the speaker. You know, sometimes I'll listen on my headphones sometimes. You know, but honestly, he's usually on the speaker and stuff like that. So whatever's playing, I just listen to whatever he's playing and stuff like that. So I don't really have nothing like specific to listen to because there's never really like there's never a wrong song to listen to. You know, like, there's always a song that's gonna turn you up.
Yeah, most definitely. You find that inspiration in that in any song, which is kind of like amusing because I mean most people are like, "Oh, I need this one song to go," but you're like, "Hey, I hear this one song and I'll find a line in there that makes me ready to go." But a couple of questions here. Just because, I know you're a busy man, you probably got to go do some training, or, I know you also do some security work on the side, besides from your fighting career. But when you're in the cage, when you throw on those gloves, is there anybody that you're throwing them on for? Because a lot of the times when these fighters are going in there, they're thinking about their family, they're thinking about maybe a loved one, is there anybody that you're going in there and you're like, this fight is for you?
Um, honestly, uh, what was the question again? I'm sorry, my thing messed up right now.
No, 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 you're good. So, basically, when you go in the ring, is there anybody that you're going in there for? Any family members, any loved ones in particular that you're playing on the gloves for, to kind of show like, this is what I'm doing it for, and I'm hoping to go big for it.
Honestly, I just do it for I do it for everybody that looks up to me or believes in me. So, cause honestly, I haven't had any family go to any of my fights. I've it's been nothing but support from my teammates, friends, and so I'm really grateful for the people that show up and support me. Cause uh yeah, like I never had any family pull up, anything like that. Um, so when I go in there, I just try to do it for the people that believe in me. That take the time to tell me, like you got this. Like they see me training and they're rooting for me, and I just go in there with that in my head.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because I mean that's something that not a lot of people can decipher that strength from, is just not even from people that are mutual family, just people that are around them and show that actual love and genuine care. You're able to harbor that and go into that ring and really put it out all on the line. And I mean, it's shown the extent of love that you have for these people, because all your matches are just, they're absolutely fun to watch. And I'll make sure to put in one of those matches at the end of the video here. So if fans are not particularly familiar with your work, they will go ahead and get a little bit familiar with Michael Arwen Ramirez. But just those last two questions here for you, Mike, before our time ends up here. But you're a huge fan of the UFC, as I see on your posts on Instagram, and you're constantly talking about MMA. So what's maybe somebody that you're into that you watch, that's like you emulate at the 170 or 185 level? Because I mean, there's got to be somebody that you were growing up watching, like, hey, that's somebody that I want to be like. That dude's a badass.
Well, I used to watch it when I was younger. I got more into it as I got older, and honestly, I've been studying Alex Pereira. I'm a huge fan of him. I feel like he's really dope. John Jones, just because I feel like I have the figure and the mentality to be of like the way he fights, like the way he is, like wrestling and stuff. So like the structure he has, like I feel like I have that potential, or at least I believe I do. So I'm a big fan of him or Adesanya, Pereira. Like I look up to a lot of those people because they came from humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Like
Mo-
I also like Cosma, just the way he dominates like he never looks nervous to me. So I hope to one day gain that trait he has.
Yeah, most definitely have that just coolness when you walk in that ring. But to touch on that background a little bit more, you said that you feel really comfortable in that wrestling aspect. And I just really wanted to touch on that. Were you maybe a wrestler in high school, or was, because you had kind of that cauliflower ear in a sense. I seen you had been extracting some blood from that. So did you want to touch on your background maybe a little bit before you got into MMA? Because that's something that a couple of interviews maybe haven't touched on before, is what you kind of were doing before you got on the MMA circuit.
Honestly, I've never trained a day in my life of wrestling until I got to my dethrone. I never trained ever. I've just started training literally in July, learning everything. Um, like I'm just like everybody else that hasn't started NBA, like, you know, just regular bullshit, street fights, or like, you know, I never started anything. I never started no fights, anything like that. But I've always defended myself. I've never been one to turn my back to anything. But so I went into the gym with a little bit of like I'm ready to learn, you know. I didn't go in there thinking I knew everything, because I don't. I went in there ready to learn everything that they were gonna show me. I was ready to lose in there. I was ready to be defeated and stuff like that, like get beat up. I was ready for all that, just because I know that's the way to be when you go into a gym. You know, you don't want to go in there thinking you're the best one, because there's always someone better than you. I'm not saying that it's not achievable to become better than that person, but at the end of the day, it all starts with that first day you show up. And like my coach Mike says, 1% better every day when you show up. You know, so 100 days, you're 100% better than you were the day you came.
Yeah, no, that's a quote that I think should be put up on every gym wall, probably in America and beyond that, because I mean that's absolutely true. I mean, you constantly are putting in work at something, you're bound to get better at it, no matter if it's just 1%, if it's 0.5% a day, even then you're still gaining 50% more knowledge than you were that first day, you know? So that's something to build off
Yes,
of. I really
sir.
like that quote. I'm gonna start using that. Shout out to Mike Moreno. But
Yeah.
um I really enjoyed your time today, Mike. You're an awesome guy. I'm really excited for your matchup against Roman Gillian. He's a southpaw wrestler. I know you've been doing your studying up on him, and you've watched his matchups because he was on that card that we were just talking about when you fought Ian Conqueror. So, are you feeling pretty prepared going into this matchup? I'm pretty sure your guys at D-Throne have got you ready, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I've been getting put in the deep water with the wrestlers, you know, just working on my wrestling and stuff like that. And you know, because that guy Roman is from the looks of it, he looks like he has experience wrestling. So I'm looking forward to an interesting match. You know, I'm just hoping to put on a show and hope that me and him could put on a explosive fight for everybody. And nothing but respect to him. You know, so when that day comes, you know, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to making everybody go out there and make it worth it, you know?
Yeah. Well, that welterweight championship does have some good ties to it. I mean, the last guy that had it was Shane Christie, and then the last person that had that was Dupree Stewart, and both those guys are making their pro debuts. So if you win that pro title, not trying to say anything's coming, knock on wood, but some good things have happened to fellow title holders of that 559 fights welterweight championship, Michael. So good, best of luck to you. We are of course everybody is looking to have a great fight night on March 10th, and I know that you're going to be looking for that championship gold to be around your waist, and I'm excited to see the outcome, man, because I know it's going to be a good one.
Yes, sir. By God's will, everything will work out the way it's supposed to. And whatever happens at the end of the day, I just want to leave it all on the mat.
Yeah, no, and I feel you're going to do that because in all your fights, you definitely have put it out all on the floor, and you put it out all on the line, and that's something that a lot of fight fans I feel will appreciate, especially come March 10th when they get to watch you in that main event. So, any last shout outs that you wanted to give here, Mike, before we finish it up here today?
Shout out to all my sponsors. Shout out to my coaches, Mike Moreno, Russell Kairos, Lamar, to my man Rick Falcone, and my whole team at D-Throne, and everybody that supports me. And shout out to you for the interview, for your time.
Of course, man. It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure. I'm always down to talk to any of you guys, any of you amateur fighters, get you guys that word out. And I will make sure to go ahead and tag your sponsors as well so they get notice of this video and so they go ahead and promote it. And I'm super thankful for your time today, Michael. This is Michael Hernandez of MLH Media and Valley Fight News, and Michael R1 Ramirez, the hoping to be welterweight champion of the 559 fights promotion come March 10th, and we're going to be signing out.
Yes, sir.